Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're looking at Tinex. They're part of the Axel Johnson International Group. It's a bit like explaining sustainability to everyone, really. Suppliers, customers, the whole world.
Right.
Luckily, Tinex has given us so much to work with. Code of ethics, training stuff, supplier guidelines. We even have their corporate presentations.
It is quite a lot.
So our goal today is to, untangle it all. Present a clear picture of what sustainability means for Tinex.
Definitely. And I think one thing that jumps out right away is how they connect their core values with their commitment to sustainability.
Yeah, those values, making things happen, far-sighted and good to work with, they really come through.
They do. They're not just words on paper. They seem to be woven into everything they do.
Exactly. And you can see it in their actions. They have a dedicated sustainability team, clear policies, and they even have those ISO certifications.
Those are not easy to get.
Not at all. And I have to think, being part of Axel Johnson International, a group with a really strong sustainability reputation, has helped.
Yeah, being part of that group has probably, shaped their approach. And what's interesting is how systematic they are about it. It's not just a few random things here and there. They have a real framework for their sustainability efforts.
It's a framework, yeah, that makes sense. And that really shows in their training programs and the supplier audits, everything connects.
It does.
Speaking of training, I was really impressed with their sustainability training materials. They cover everything from ethical behavior and compliance to things like the circular economy. Even the Paris Agreement is in there.
Wow.
It's like they've created this mini sustainability university inside the company.
That's a great way to put it. And they don't just scratch the surface, They really delve into those concepts.
Right.
And show how they connect to what Timex does every day.
I think that's what makes it so effective.
Yeah.
They're not just telling their employees what to do. They're really trying to get them to understand the bigger picture.
To understand the why, exactly.
And it's not just about what happens inside the company. They also have this really detailed supplier code of conduct. It sets really high standards for their partners, covering everything from human rights and labor practices to environmental responsibility.
Yeah, and that good to work with value, it really comes through there, doesn't it?
It does. They're not just saying, hey, do things right. They're backing it up with audits and corrective action plans.
They're making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. And that's important, especially when you're dealing with these complex global supply chains.
Oh, absolutely. Supply chains can be really, really hard to track. But Tinex is taking those steps, to make sure things are done responsibly.
They are. It's almost like they're taking their own sustainability culture and extending it outwards.
They are. It's like they're influencing their partners to become more sustainable, too.
Yeah, and their website statements really drive this point home. They talk about wanting to be a leader in their industry and being the most attractive employer. And they even have these specific goals, like a 50% reduction in CO2 emissions by 2030.
That's ambitious.
It is. And they have a long-term goal of zero waste going to landfill or incineration.
Wow.
So they're not just dipping their toes in the water here. They're really going for it.
Yeah, they are. They're setting these big goals, but what's even more impressive is they're actually taking steps to get there.
They are. They're switching to LED lighting. They're going paperless. They're promoting cycling. It all adds up.
All those little things, they make a difference.
They do. And they're also talking about it. They're putting it out there. They want people to know that they're serious about sustainability.
They're proud of it.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's important. It shows that they're not just doing it for the PR. They really believe in it.
It's part of their DNA.
Yeah, it is. Now, let's take a closer look at their corporate presentation. I was really struck by some of the details in there.
Okay.
For instance, they've had some really impressive growth. They've exceeded 26 million euros in revenue in 2023. And they have 73 employees, over 3,000 regular customers.
That's great.
It is. And they have this huge inventory, over 60,000 products from over 60 brands.
It's impressive.
It is. And they're really well integrated into the Southeastern European market. And they're looking to expand into new areas.
So they're not just content with where they are now. They want to grow.
They do. They do. And one more detail that I found really interesting. They operate a linear center and manufacturing facilities for profile and flat seals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's this vertical integration aspect that I found kind of unusual for a company of their size.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder if that vertical integration plays into their sustainability goals at all. having that control over the production process.
That's a really good point. It could definitely allow them to, optimize for resource efficiency and waste reduction.
Right, right. It's almost like a tangible example of the circular economy in action.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So, I mean, we've just scratched the surface here, but it's clear that Tinex has a really, comprehensive and systematic approach to sustainability. It's part of their values, their operations, their supply chain. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's really impressive. It's not an afterthought for them. It's built into everything they do.
And they're setting ambitious goals. And most importantly, they're taking those concrete steps to get there. They're not just talking the talk. They're really walking the walk.
I agree. They're a great example of how a company can be successful while also making a positive impact on the world.
So we've talked about their overall approach, but let's get into specifics. How are they actually doing this? Yeah, let's dig in.
Like their website mentions cutting their carbon footprint. Did you see anything in the materials about how they're doing that?
Oh, definitely. One thing that comes to mind is they switch from those old halogen lights in their warehouse to LEDs.
Oh, yeah, the LEDs.
Seems small, but it makes a big difference in energy use. And that, of course, affects their emissions. LEDs are so much more efficient than those old halogens.
Right, right. It shows they're paying attention, even to the little things. Did you find any other examples like that, where they're taking action to lower their footprint?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They've started moving towards using only electronic documents, for things like vacation time or pay slips.
Going paperless.
Exactly. Saves paper, and it actually streamlines their work, too, so it's a win-win.
It's funny how reducing waste often makes things more efficient. Now, what about those circular economy ideas they mentioned? I saw on their website they're doing repair and refurbishment services, and they're trying to, make their polyester products more circular. Right, that's a big focus for them. And they're really educating their employees about it, too. The training materials go deep into circular economy principles.
So it's not just, a top-down thing.
No, not at all. They want everyone in the company to think about it, to see where those ideas can be applied.
That's smart. So how do they actually do those repairs and refurbishments?
It looks like they have a few different ways. They have a whole team of technicians who specialize in repairing products, bringing them back to life. And they also offer condition monitoring. I think they use sensors for that to catch potential problems early on.
Oh, that's clever.
It is, right. By catching those problems early, they can fix things before they break down completely. It extends the life of the product and reduces waste.
It all comes back to their far-sighted value.
It does. They're thinking long-term, not just about the next quarter's profits. It's about making sure things last.
And what about their supplier code of conduct? Those are some pretty tough standards for the companies they work with. How do they make sure everyone's following the rules?
Well, their supplier audits are serious business. It's not just checking boxes on a form. They go on site. They visit the facilities, talk to the workers, look at the actual working conditions. It's really thorough.
It's one thing to have a code, but it's another to actually, make it happen. What happens if a supplier isn't meeting the standards?
They work with them, to get things right. They develop corrective action plans together and provide support. It's more about helping them improve.
So it's a partnership, not just a punishment.
Exactly. They're trying to build long-term relationships, but those relationships are based on shared values. And they have that whistleblower system, too.
Yeah, that's important. It gives people a way to speak up if they see something wrong, without being afraid.
It keeps everyone accountable.
We've talked a lot about their external efforts, but what are they doing internally? In their own offices and warehouses.
They have a whole internal program, too, aiming for zero waste to landfill. And they're working hard to use less energy, too, everywhere. Offices, warehouses, production facilities.
That's a big goal. How do they even start doing that?
They're doing a lot, from upgrading their heating and cooling systems to changing their production processes to use less energy. And they've even put solar panels on their headquarters.
Solar panels, wow. They're really doing it all. It's impressive how they're looking at every part of what they do, to see where they can improve.
Yeah, they are. And they're not just doing things and hoping for the best. They track their progress. They report on their performance.
They like that transparency. It seems like a big part of their whole approach.
It builds trust,
Yeah.
and it shows they're serious about making things better.
It's not just about the environment either. They're taking care of their employees, too.
Right. They have programs to promote well-being, things like ergonomic workstations, healthy food options, and stress management programs.
Because sustainability is about people too.
Absolutely. And they encourage their employees to speak up, share their ideas, give feedback. It creates a sense of ownership, like everyone's part of the solution.
It's a team effort.
And they're committed to diversity and inclusion too. They want their workforce to reflect the communities they serve.
It's all connected.
It is. Tinex really seems to understand that sustainability isn't just one thing, it's about taking a holistic view.
Looking at the whole picture.
Exactly. They're setting an example, showing that it's possible to be a successful business and make a positive impact at the same time.
Okay, so we've seen what they're doing and how they're doing it. But I'm curious about, the why. Why are they so committed to this? It's more than just good PR, right?
Yeah, I think there are a few things going on. It's not just one thing, which is often the case with companies who are, really leading the way in sustainability.
So what are some of the driving factors here? What's motivating them?
Well, for one, there's a real sense of just doing the right thing, Their materials really emphasize the ethics of it all. They see it as their responsibility to lessen their impact on the environment and make the world a better place.
So it's about values, not just the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also makes sense from a business perspective. Consumers are looking for sustainable products, and Tinex is in a great position to provide those.
Right. They're definitely tapping into that market. And it's not a small market anymore either. Sustainability is becoming mainstream.
Exactly. And it's not just consumers. Investors are looking at sustainability too, Companies with strong sustainability programs are seen as less risky.
They're looking to the future.
They are. And then there's the talent side of things, attracting and keeping good employees, especially younger generations. They want to work for companies that share their values.
You want to work somewhere that has a purpose.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a mix of things. Ethics, business strategy, wanting to be a great place to work. All of that probably explains why they've been so successful in making sustainability part of everything they do.
It's a good reminder that there's not one right way to do sustainability.
Nope, it's different for every company.
It's about finding that balance between doing good and doing well as a business.
And Tinex seems to have found that balance. They're profitable, but they're also driven by a purpose. And I think that's a really inspiring message for other companies.
It is. So as we wrap things up here, I'm curious, what do you think? Where does Tinex go from here? What's their biggest opportunity to really make a difference, given everything we've seen, their strong performance and their commitment to sustainability?
That's a good question. I think they have the potential to be real leaders in their industry. They've shown they're willing to collaborate, so maybe they could use that to encourage others to follow their lead.
They could really push the whole industry forward.
Exactly. Sharing what they've learned, working together on sustainability projects, maybe even setting some ambitious goals for the whole sector.
So it's not just about them. It's about lifting everyone up.
Right. And it doesn't stop there. They could also use their platform to advocate for better policies and regulations that support sustainable practices, not just in their industry, but everywhere.
So they could use their influence to make real change happen.
Yeah, they're in a good position to do that. They have a good story, a track record of success, and a clear commitment to making things better.
Well, it's been fascinating to dive deep into Tinex's sustainability story.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you, our listener, have learned something new today. And as you go about your day, think about this. What part of Tinex's story resonated with you? And how can you, in your own way, contribute to a more sustainable future? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.